I'm going to try and stay on track. So yesterday, I had planned to make a video that was going to be really cool and really inspirational for us voluntarists right now. And it was going to tell people how to create freedom, what to actually do. Don't go out on the streets with these commie mother effers and destroy property and make the general public hate you and work literally against freedom in your gang on gang street violence. It's the red line gang versus the blue line gang. That is not how to create freedom. That is not how to win hearts and minds. That is how to make it harder on everybody in the process. So what are we supposed to do? People always ask me. If not that, then what? Well, and then I talk about parenting and they're like, oh, but that's such a lot. No, I want freedom in my lifetime. And they're like, what can we do? And so I was going to make this really inspirational video yesterday where, we were going to be in my car. We were going to pull up to this restaurant that a bunch of local activists had arrived at. And, I was going to have my mask on. And I was going to basically say that, like, you want to know how to actually create freedom? Well, I'm going to tell you. You take it. You have to take your freedom. No one gives it to you. You don't win it. You don't earn it. You don't get permission for it. No one grants it to you. You take it with action. Not by rioting and destroying innocent, peaceful people's property, by just doing it, by doing the things that you want to do in spite of the gangs that try and control your life otherwise. And you do it by keeping an eye out around you for people doing the same and going and standing next to them and helping them and supporting them and backing them up and protecting them if you can, if and where you can. And that's what yesterday's lesson was going to be. It was going to be an inspirational video showing you a group of activists doing what needs to be done right now, resisting tyranny, backing up other people also resisting tyranny. So there was a group of bars that were open in resistance to the ordinance that shut bars down here. And they were opening anyway, serving alcohol anyway, providing entertainment anyway. It is these business owners' sovereign sole right to conduct peaceful business with voluntary consensual customers. And anyone that would forcibly stop them is evil, is the bad guy, is the opponent, deserving of nothing but defensive force where necessary. And so what we were doing, and the lesson to be learned was, look, we found some people. They're normies. They're not voluntarists. They're not anarchists. They're not out trying to sort of free the world. They're just trying to stand up for themselves, their own lives, their own business, their own property, and to keep, food on their own plates and feed their family and keep their businesses from going under. And they were doing it in defiance of the invalid authority of the state. So what do good people do? They go and they find those people and they stand next to them. And that's where it was. So we arrived at this place. I drove like 40 minutes to get to this bar. Guys, I don't have time to really go to bars. I'm not a bar hopper. I don't drink a lot. I'm way sort of too productive to have time for that most times. But this is activism. This is what I try and do with my life, with my existence on this world. This is support freedom and grow it. And so we arrived there to do that. And I was going to do this video where, we pulled up and I had my mask on. I was going to be like, guys, you want to know the secret to creating freedom? Well, you just take it and you stand next to other people that are taking theirs too. And I was going to take my mask off and we were going to triumphantly walk into the restaurant and have a great normal evening hanging out with the guys. Did that happen? Not even a little bit. Not even close. It was a bizarro world last night, and it was highly unnerving for me. And I know, look, a lot of you that are going to be watching this have been out in the world a lot more than I have recently. I'm mostly, for my daughter's sake, we're safe. For 2 years, we've been semi-quarantining ourselves just to make sure that she doesn't pick up anything in her immunocompromised state. And so I just haven't been out unless it was really necessary for me to get out of the house. I just don't, because it keeps us safer, keeps her safer. And so I think that what that did was I think the slow buildup of what's been happening outside maybe have boiled everyone's frogs slower. And for me, I just got dropped in the hot water yesterday. The world is fucking nuts right now. And I'm sure most of you are looking at your screens right now being like, yeah, we know, we've been living it. Well, it all hit me at once yesterday. And so we show up and I'm happy to, patronize this business that was defying ordinances to stay open. And the people are sitting outside. There's a patio outside, an outdoor area with a bunch of people, no masks or anything like that. And that's where the rest of the people were. And I was, just going to walk into the patio, but somebody said I couldn't just walk into the patio. I had to go in the front door. So I go in the front door. There's a lady there that tells me that I'm scaring her with my mask, because rather than have a medical sort of mask on, I have a Guy Fawkes mask on. It says that I'm scary and that I'm scaring them. And, I just talked to them really kindly and happily. And I'm like, oh, man, I didn't mean to scare you. None, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about it. This is just a, sort of protest the dumb mask thing. And this is a way of, sort of protecting, maybe you from any reprisal from the state while also making a statement. That's all. Like, no big deal. No big deal. Well, they had to take my temperature to enter the establishment, and I guess a little laser beam on my forehead or whatever. And they had to get my name for their list. I told them my name was Guy Fawkes. They had no idea. They didn't get the reference at all. I even spelled it out. I was like, G-U-Y, blah, blah, blah. And then they said, okay, well, to come in, you have to wear this mask. And they handed me one of theirs. And I was like, yeah, no, that's all right. I don't need to walk through the store. I don't need to walk through your restaurant to get to the patio. I can even go back outside and just walk around outside and just, get into the patio that way. And they got very upset and oppositional with me. And they basically said, no, we don't want you to walk to the patio from the outside. We want you to walk through the restaurant to get to the patio. And you can't do that unless you wear this little mask. And it wasn't even like an N95 mask. It was one of those little stupid paper, stupid do nothing masks. Look, I've been living this shit for 2 years with my daughter. I'm very familiar with the protective measures necessary to keep her safe. And she wears really nice masks often when we go places to protect her. The mask that they were wanting did nothing. And this is what I've been saying so often on this channel lately. This has nothing to do with the rules. This is about compliance. This is about who you are. Are you going to play nice and be the type of person we want you to be, or are you not? Are you going to be a dissident, or are you going to fall in line? That's what this is about. And I recognize this happening in real time. It wasn't about their rule that to walk around in their restaurant, they wanted you to wear this particular mask, because I said I could just walk around outside and go to the area where no one else was wearing masks. That wasn't the point. They didn't address it. They had no response for it other than to tell me what they demanded I do. And so we all left. I drove 40 minutes to support this business, and so that was the first confrontation, and it was absurd and it was silly. And I was just kind of dumbfounded. So then we're just like, okay, well, we're hungry. I drove all this way. Let's go find some food. So we drove to the first restaurant. It was some steak place. And as I'm walking in, there are 3-foot tall signs on the walls and yard signs in the grass out front. And they're like, this business is COVID-19 compliant. And it was like the restaurant was wearing its flair, its Star of David, to let everyone know that, they are complying with the politicians' demands. And look, I understand, these businesses are under threat of the government's controls. These judges are issuing edicts left and right now, and business licenses are being revoked and people's livelihoods are being challenged in a time where their bank accounts are already strained. I got it. They have the right to make these decisions for their property and how they want to run their business. Absolutely. This is not me arguing against their property rights. I guess I'm a little worried and scared after last night. to be honest, about, look, I knew that 99.5% of everyone around me was a statist. Yeah, we know that. That's just reality. I was really surprised last night by the number of people around me that are zombies, that are unthinking zombies. They're just moaning through life, doing what they're told, and they're happy to comply and to be part of the group. So we go into this restaurant, and it's basically a ghost town except for some sparsely populated tables and a few people at the bar, and we find some empty seats. And apparently, we were told almost immediately that anywhere there's a reserved sign, we can't sit because that's to enforce social distancing between the tables. And so we found a little table for 3 people with no reserved sign on it, and we started to sit down there, and they said, oh, no, you can't sit there because that's immediately adjacent to this other table. And we're like, well, this other table is empty and also doesn't have a reserved sign on it. And they're like, yeah, but they might sit that table. So you can't sit at that one, even though it doesn't have a reserved. And it's just like, and we're getting dirty looks from everyone because we don't have the masks on, and it's the same feeling. It's the same reactions that I got early on 3 years ago when I started open carrying, when people weren't used to seeing me having a pistol on my hip. Now I don't even get that anymore. Like for over a year, I can't even remember a single reaction or sideways glance that I've gotten from open carrying. But now I'm there, and they don't even see the gun. They just see the lack of mask on my face, and I'm getting way, way worse reactions from not having a mask on in this restaurant than I was from open carrying. I'm just a little blown away, and it's a little scary just by the number. I guess I thought that more people would be resisting. I didn't expect the majority. I didn't even expect a significant portion of the general population to resist this garbage. But I expected somebody. And I didn't see any of it, except for the few voluntarists that I know in the Voluntarists of Dallas area community of people that we've built up over the years. Except for those people, I see no one. Felt very wild. It felt like the world is flying off the track really fast. And I don't think anyone knows where this is headed. And that's not even what bothers me. What bothers me is that I'm not even sure people are going to resist if where it's headed ends up being deeply evil. My faith in humanity has been shaken after last night. And so, anyway, we ended up leaving that restaurant. We went to a different place. A couple buildings over was a pizza joint. They didn't say anything to us. We just walked in, sat down at the bar, and then eventually we swapped to a table when more people showed up. And it was like normal almost, except the waitresses and everything are all masked up or whatever. But like they didn't care, and life proceeded as normal. So it's just really disorienting world right now. I guess that's my point. I'm worried about where it's going, because if people do resist, I think we're in a civil war scenario, and I don't think that's hyperbole at all. If at some point somebody hits a line in the sand where they've had enough and they realize that most of this is useless garbage and they start resisting, we're in a civil war scenario. And there are not enough awake people to have that scenario turn out good at all. Either that, or, in a way, we might be headed towards an even worse outcome, which is that we just slowly, silently go into the night, move on into this new medical tyranny. No one resists, or the very, very, very few people that do resist are, run out of town, forcibly caged under something they will call quarantine. It'll be like quarantine boxcars, and that's it. I think that's the more terrifying prediction. I'm not sure What's the third prediction? The third prediction would be people start getting really grumpy with this over the next month, maybe. And government just starts losing control by so many people just disobeying the laws and starting to open their businesses and live their life as normal, that the government rolls all this stuff back. I really don't see that happening. If anything, the most plausible thing is that the vaccine drops and the vaccine becomes a requirement for civilized, for any modern life, to go anywhere, do anything, to get it. It'll probably be enforced by the jobs first. That's how they're going to do it. You know, to go to work, you're going to need to prove that you've either got the vaccination or have been recently tested. And there's going to be all sorts of stuff like that. And it's just going to be another link in the chain of tyranny over a long period of time. I got caught off guard yesterday, and I'm just really worried about what's happening and where we're going.